Welcome back. Thank you for staying with the broadcast. Viewfort residents, while not yet consulted by the Solid Waste Management Authority on the closure of the landfill, are making their views known on the matter. The Solid Waste Management Authority announced that the Viewfort landfill will be closed by October 2019. In the interim, the authority is looking into small-scale units of waste management. This is being piloted in the south to handle only the waste emanating from Viewfort. The intention is to locate said units as close as possible to waste generation in order to reduce the need for transporting waste, thereby reducing the cost of waste disposal. There is an innate double edge when opening and closing a landfill. Generally, no one wants it in their backyard. Yet once established, residents benefit from the convenience. Julius James of the Viewfort Concerned Citizens Coalition for Change is adamant that the landfill should be relocated.
A landfill has a limited lifespan. And as we all know, land is limited in St. Lucia. So we can't go on looking for landfills all over, or landfill sites all over the place. We must think of things like incineration. Can we purchase or build or whatever an incinerator on the island where all these, what I call undesirable wastes can be destroyed, and all you get is the ashes. And let us stop simply using available land for a landfill that we know has a limited lifespan.
To date, the St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority has not engaged in public consultation on the available options. Yet residents who both enjoy the benefits of a disposal site in their area and those plagued by its side effects are of one consensus.
Sometimes we do get a scent smell, but not all the time. And a lot of flies. That if they were to relocate it, it would have been good.
I think it's not good where it is. It definitely is not good because it's too close to everything.
To move the landfill. Yeah, well, that's definitely a good idea. It would be beneficial in many ways. Number one, the hospital still being there, that would probably ease a lot of that fly and probably the other stuff that they suffer from because of its proximity. We wouldn't have those perennial fires, from the shredded tires.
As members of the Viewfort South constituency, I think it is the right of the government to let the people of the South know that they are relocating the landfill. For the 38 years I've been on this land, that's where I know it, and we want to know if they're changing it, where will it be located and at what cost.
I think that's a very good idea. They're taking it out from where it is there and they're putting it somewhere where the smell and the flies and everything cannot affect anybody around the place.
Well, sometimes there's have a lot of smoke coming from there, and basically smoke. Sometimes there's have fires and a lot of smoke coming from there. Well, I just had to run out of here for a while until the smoke cool off.
But they also need to be concerned about how it affects the people within the community, the smell, those with sinus, those with asthma, how it will be affecting them. So I think that they should stop it.
With the closure of the Viewfort landfill come concerns that there may be corresponding increase in illegal dumping of refuse. The St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority, in conjunction with the Viewfort Town Council and the police, will be implementing robust monitoring and enforcement to curb this problem. Are you camera ready? Now would be a good time to get in gear and get ready for comedian and host of the popular street interview show called What You Know. Our very own host of Have Your Say, Rochelle Gonzalez, sits down with Daniel Loveless and picks his brain to find out exactly what he knows. More in this special report.
Right here in St. Lucia, we've all heard of Street Vibes, Solutions, E-Poll, and of course Hot 7's very own Have Your Say. These are all segments where local camera crews take to the streets to pick the brains of everyday St. Lucians on a number of topics ranging from serious to tongue-in-cheek. With that in mind, we were fortunate enough to meet up with the man who has quickly become the king of Caribbean Vox, and so we decided to flip the script and put him in the spotlight with a few of our very own questions. Joining me right now is Daniel Loveless, and he's the host of What You Know.
That's correct, yeah.
And it's sort of like it's like a Caribbean. Well, it started in Trinidad, but it's a Caribbean street vibes kind of show where Daniel went from quizzing people on the streets of Trinidad about what they know to now picking the brains of people all over the globe.
That's correct.
So what I want to know is, how did this happen? What did it take to get to this point? But first, let's start with an introduction. So Daniel, tell us about yourself and the show.
Well, to everyone looking at home, looking online right now, my name is Daniel Loveless, and I travel the world asking the simple question of what you know. And it's a show that promotes education through entertainment by just asking people simple, general knowledge questions. You may know, I may not know, but it's all about what you know. You know.
Excellent. Now, with that said, education through entertainment.
Good.
This is the show's tagline. Tell us about this tagline. Why did you choose it, and what are you hoping to get out of it?
Yeah, so what education through entertainment essentially means to me is that learning does not always need to be something tedious, right? Learning can be fun. So that's why we say education through entertainment. So you get to laugh and you get to learn at the same time. So you get to mix the both, and when you get to mix the both, it's just amazing the things that can happen and the things that you can learn.
Right. Now, speaking about education through entertainment, you have proven that you yourself are open to learning.
That's correct.
Because in one of your episodes, one of your most recent episodes, you got schooled hard. Let me tell you.
I did.
Daniel got schooled hard by one of his interviewees. And you were basically put in the shade when they asked you a few questions. And
Correct.
you showed that you didn't know that much about them.
Yeah.
So what message do you think that sends out on its own?
Yeah, so that it means that we as humans, we as human beings, we don't know everything. You may know something, I may not know, but it's all about a learning process, and whether the person is ignorant to the fact of something, or I am ignorant to the fact of it. You may know, I may not know, but it's all a learning process, and it's education through entertainment, whether I teach the person or they teach me.
Excellent. Yeah. Now, on a more serious note, as always, with everything in life comes criticism, the good and the bad. And one of the most common pieces of criticism that the show has received, people have said that, they think that you pick on the vulnerable, like, the people who clearly might not know the answers to some of your questions. And it's sort of an exploitative way, like you show them and people laugh at them, just for the entertainment value of the show. So what do you say to that?
Good. So, I have a few things to say about that. So firstly, I enjoy hearing criticism from people. I read all the comments about people who dislike the show, and I certainly love to engage in discussions with people who don't like the show, and I try to understand why they don't like it, because that is what makes me better. That is what makes the brand better. So I enjoy criticism, and I enjoy trying to do things to improve the show, and see things from people's perspective and not only from my perspective. Secondly, on the topic of me picking on vulnerable people, I totally disagree with that. The show is a show for everyone, right? When I go to the streets, I ask every single person that I see, would you like to answer a few questions? My name is Daniel. I travel the world asking people simple questions, and they have the opportunity to participate, even going as far as signing disclaimers and understanding what the show is about. So it's not something where I force people into competing. It's like I tell them, all right, the show promotes education through entertainment. If you answer a few questions correctly, you could win a cash prize. And I've seen that traveling many places. You see some people, some vendors selling at the side of the street, and they actually have the opportunity, if you look back at the past episodes, to win money, to have something to do better for themselves, better for their children. So it's something that improves the lives of others, And even when people don't answer the questions correctly, it's not that I'm picking on them or trying to embarrass them, but it's all about education through entertainment, and the people themselves laugh at themselves, because it's all about laughter and learning. Education through entertainment.
Right. I hope you heard that.
Definitely.
Now, your career path, it's certainly uncommon in the at least in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
But you're living proof. You're blowing up basically.
Yeah.
What did it take to get to this stage?
I would say that it took a lot of persistency and keeping consistent, with the content, and just going through the times and weathering the storms. Basically, there were times that people try to boycott me, organizations try to come against me, the media houses, all the, not all the time I had positive, coverage in the media. And it's just about staying true to your craft and believing in your dream. And as long as you believe in your dream, no one else can stop you. It doesn't matter who doesn't believe in your dream, but for me, it was just about, I have an audience, so whether or not 5 or 6 people don't like me, I have 300,000 people on my side. So I need to provide that content to make them laugh and to, fulfill my purpose on this earth.
Understood. Now, we have this major issue. Not in St. Lucia only. It's not, we're not the only ones facing it, and that's unemployment. This is like a scourge in the Caribbean, basically. But like I said earlier on, you're living proof that one does not have to strive to follow the cookie cutter image. Follow where you have to work in a bank to get employed, to be considered as successful and stuff like that. What message would you like to share with the youth listening to encourage them to, take charge, that they can make a life for themselves, a bright future, and not necessarily go the route that everyone is expecting?
For me, I can only share my recipe. It may not work for everyone, but it definitely worked for me. So my recipe was, number one, prayers. I am a firm believer in prayer. You say your prayers and you ask for what you want, whether it's too big or it's too small, whatever it is, you ask for what. If you want to be a millionaire, you just ask for it. And I believe that once you ask for it and you have that faith that it will happen, it will come through. And in terms of unemployment, I would say that, find something you love doing. And as long as you find something you love doing and you try to make a career of it, once you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life again. So my life is a vacation because I'm doing what I love. So whether if you love to clean people's shoes and you want to make a business out of that, you go right ahead and you can become whatever you want to become through doing that. So I would say find something you love doing. Even if I was not an entertainer, I guarantee you I would still be successful doing whatever I put my mind to, because I believe that whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve. And that was my way. I left my job 3 years ago with no idea of how I was going to earn an income, where I was going to go, but I knew that I wanted to be popular. I wanted to be a good member of society, an upstanding member of society, an inspiration to the youth. I wanted to be, somebody different in society who people could look up to. I wanted people to look at me and cry, to see me, because I was such an important person of society. And I have become that person just by believing that I could become that person. So I just believe it's about finding something you love to do, whether it's landscaping, whether it's makeup, whether you want to study medicine, whatever you put your mind to, as long as the mind can conceive and believe, you definitely can achieve it.
I think that's a very important message, and you made some very valid points. But with that, we've come to the end of our interview, and so this was Daniel Lovelace telling us what he knows.
If you didn't know, now you know.
You know. So how do you think he did? Do you think we need to, reward him? You tell us.
I think so.
Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Thank you very much, Rochelle. New and used vehicle importers gathered at the conference office of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards to engage in a consultation in regards to an upcoming implementation pre-export inspection program. The Bureau of Standards officials say this effort is necessary to alleviate some of the concerns expressed by consumers in regards to roadworthiness of used vehicles. Solange Alfred reports.
Partnering up with Japanese-based inspection agency to perform inspections on used vehicles entering into St. Lucia is the most recent endeavor outlined by the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards. The organization has met with key stakeholders in the new and used vehicle dealership to iron out the parameters surrounding the pre-export inspection program. The first of its kind, this initiative makes provisions to ensure all vehicles entering into the island have been inspected and are roadworthy, says Head of Compliance at the Bureau of Standards, Hubert Reynolds.
The Bureau will be implementing a pre-export inspection program for vehicles. And so we are discussing with them elements of the program when it will roll out, elements of the parameters that will be inspected, and the process of requesting an inspection and clearing a vehicle. And so we have the Bureau has signed a contract with a company in Japan, EAA, that is an accredited inspection body that does inspections of vehicles before they are exported. It would mean when the program rolls out that the quality of vehicles coming into St. Lucia would be a lot better. We're hoping that after that program is implemented, the next step will be to share the knowledge of doing the inspections with the local garages doing inspection here.
The program is scheduled to be fully functional by October 2018, says Reynolds. Meanwhile, Director of Consumer Affairs Guillaume Simon expresses his approval with the initiative, which he says will build customer confidence when purchasing new and used vehicles.
I think the fact that this certification program is coming on stream will instill a measure of confidence in consumers when they're actually purchasing vehicles, as well. This whole aspect of internet fraud, where persons can go online right now, buy a purchase a vehicle directly. This new requirement will give some sort of assurance that they're not purchasing what you call a jabbersack, that you're actually getting value for your money.
Transport Officer in the Department of Transport, Nisa Paul Alexander, says the inspection program will fare well for the Department of Transport. She also reveals legislation as it stands still has room for improvement.
Currently, the legislation does not make provision for certain inspections to take place, and one of the reasons for transport coming on board is to ensure that all the necessary legislation is in place to ensure that all vehicles entering our island is definitely roadworthy and our customers are receiving value for money and they're safe to be on our roads.
The Department of Transport, Bureau of Standards and Consumer Affairs all welcome the pre-import inspection program, which aims to ensure vehicles entering the island are of top standard and are roadworthy, which can maximize road safety efforts put forth by all stakeholders. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
The board of the Folk Research Center on Thursday, the 15th of August, named a new executive director in the person of Louise Victor. Victor detailed her plans to revitalize the FRC. She brings to the table a wealth of knowledge and youthful exuberance and says her efforts will be focused on rebuilding the Folk Research Center at Mount Pleasant. Solange Alfred reports.
Ensuring the tangible and intangible culture of St. Lucia is centralized in one location and readily available to the public is one of the mandates of the Folk Research Center. Longtime former executive director Hilary LaForce, in a previous airing of the Hot 7 Nightly News, expressed his recommendation that the individual tasked with taking the reins of leadership as the new executive director should be young, vibrant, and experienced in the field of culture and diversity. In comes Louise Victor, the new executive director, who says her recent appointment shows FRC's commitment to the transfer of knowledge.
The very fact that me as such a young person has assumed this leadership position is testimony of how FRC is emulating or practicing that essence of intangible cultural heritage and ensuring that there is a transfer of knowledge and skills. And so I think that consciousness as in our St. Lucian citizenry will be very important in not just changing but defining our narrative as St. Lucian.
Victor went on to outline one new revitalization effort looking to be employed by FRC. She provides brief details into the upcoming Creole Heritage Month.
And officially announced the two host communities as Groseille and Choiseul. So as of last year, there would have been a move from 4 to 2 communities, and so that remains. When we get closer to the month, to the launch, we will speak of that rationale in detail, as well as some of the other activities that will be happening across the island.
As for the rebuilding effort of FRC at Mount Pleasant, Victor says a thrust to create new streams of cash flow will be implemented.
As part of the rebuilding efforts, generating new streams of revenue will also be critical, and so I look forward to taking on that mantle aggressively as we look forward to restoring FRC at Mount Pleasant.
The Folk Research Center was engulfed by fire in March 2018, where a majority of the artifacts and documents detailing St. Lucia's history and culture were lost. Efforts to gain tangible cultural pieces are ongoing. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Thank you, Solange. You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. We'll be right back.